Hello, welcome to Confessions of a Frustrated Game Master. I am Robert, the narrator, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Confessions. Before we get started, I just wanted to let everyone know that the pre-launch festivities for my tabletop role-playing game, Piece the RPG, have started in earnest. In the description below, I'll put a link to the pre-launch page for my Kickstarter for the game. Please go on there if you're interested in all about the Kickstarter, about the game. Hit the notification button on the page and you'll be notified when we launch. And just to build excitement about the game, please tell friends, fellow gamers, family members, get everyone involved, and we can bring this tabletop role-playing game, my tabletop role-playing game, to life. Thank you very much. So on to the episode. Well, this episode, as you probably saw in the title, we're going to talk about playing in the raw, rules as written, and flexibility when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. Now, I did a similar episode a few episodes back where I talked about fun versus game balance, where I talked about players who want to kind of step out of the rules for the sake of having fun and having more freedom and player agency, and how I have experienced in the past, and how some of the players in my local group who really advocate for stepping outside of the rules have learned that sometimes when you step outside of the rules of a game, that breaks balance in the game. But this, I'm going to come from a slightly different perspective, though related a little bit different. Now, a bone of contention with me and my local group, my home group, has always been playing games rules as written, or having the flexibility to do whatever they want in the game, or at least to do things that are not quantified, or to get benefits in a game that aren't quantified in the rules. Now, as I may have mentioned in that fun versus balance video, I am definitely a rules as written kind of guy. My assumption, which may not be correct, is that when I sit down to play a game, it has been play tested. The designers of the games or play testers have found the weak spots or the broken things in the game. And if something isn't in the game, it's probably a game balance reason. Now, I am going to be totally honest. This has always been an issue in my group, with certain players feeling that I am not flexible enough or as a game master. Now, it's weird that I've never really talked about this aspect, because this whole channel is mostly focused on the issues that I have run into with my local group. So it's strange that I haven't talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it now. Yes, there is a disagreement on playing games rules as written versus being flexible with my local gaming group. And I am the type of game master, as I said, I like playing games rules as written, especially when I start playing them, but I'm willing to be more flexible once I completely understand the system. But I am the type of game master, for example, in my game, Piece the RPG, there aren't any flanking rules, just to give you an example. So if a player was to say to me, hey, I just noticed that me and my fellow player or ally is flanking or outnumbering this bad guy, can we get some type of bonus? And because the game doesn't have a mechanic for that, I am the type of game master who will say no. Now, I love rewarding players for good ideas. And as a matter of fact, as I will mention next, I sometimes have run into trouble because I want to reward players for great role playing and good ideas in my game. But what I'm usually not willing to do for balance reasons is to allow players to get mechanical benefits for narration or good ideas if those mechanical benefits are not in the game. And the reason for that is several fold. The first reason I will mention is because as a player and as a game master, I can do cool narration every action. So does that mean that every time I narrate an action cool or I come up with a good idea that I should get some kind of mechanical benefit? Do we want to quantify and just say that, well, every time I do a cool description, should I just go ahead and just add a blanket +2 to my attack roll because I'm going to narrate a way that would logically maybe give me some type of benefit over the enemy, but isn't quantified in the rules. So should I just go ahead and have a +1 or +2 every time? I don't think that anyone would advocate for that. But hey, I'm having a good idea. I'm narrating a logical explanation for why I should get a bonus. So why am I not getting a bonus? So that kind of goes to the slippery slope argument that I make when players want mechanical benefits for things that aren't quantified in the game. You can always narrate how you could be getting an advantage over an enemy, but if the game doesn't support it, what are you doing to the balance of the game? So that's part of my argument for playing in the Raw. The other argument is as a game master, for me, making up rules is as annoying as having to look up rules that you've forgotten about the game, stopping the game to look up rules in the rule book. So as a game master, if I have to say, okay, we're going to not play rules as written, so if you come up with a cool idea, I'm going to have to come up with whatever type of bonus or benefit or allow you to break the rules, for me, is more unnecessary work on my plate as a game master. And having to figure out something balanced that makes sense every time a player wants to do something that doesn't give a bonus in the rule book is just as annoying as if I had to stop the game and go going through the rule book to find a rule that actually does exist. So that is another reason why I don't like the idea of players fishing for mechanical bonuses or abilities that don't exist in the rule book. Now that actually kind of segues quite nicely into the other reason that I like to play games rules as written, and that is the fact that I have realized what I mentioned earlier, that I don't like to dissuade players from thinking creatively as long as they're not getting mechanical benefits that aren't quantified in the game. As a matter of fact, I have gotten in trouble with my local group because what I like to do is I like to give away bennies or action points when players do good role playing and have good ideas. And I have pretty much unanimously and squarely been told that they do not like individual player rewards. So giving a player a reward for good role playing, my play group thinks that is unfair. So let's examine that. So you don't like the idea of the game master saying, hey, you just had a good idea. You just did some good role playing, so here's a little Benny for you. But you don't have a problem with a player getting a bonus that isn't in the rules when they want to do something that's not rules as written? That seems inconsistent to me. So if I can't give bennies or action points to a player for having a good idea or thinking outside of the box, why would you be okay or say that I'm not being flexible when a player wants to do something that's not quantified in the rules, that basically is a bonus or a freebie, an individual freebie, because what they're trying to do is not backed up in the rules? So that is a little bit of an inconsistency that I see there with my local group being not okay with individual player rewards, but being okay with outside of rules as written bonuses when a player wants to do something that is not in the rules. So that is an ongoing struggle that I have had with my local group, who feels that I am not flexible enough as a game master, and that I don't allow players to think outside of the box. So what do you think about that? Let me know in the description below. What do you think about the slippery slope argument of, well, if I let you get actions that normally you can't do, how do I judge letting everyone else do actions that, or get bonuses that aren't quantified in the rules? And would you find it as annoying as I do that every time a player wants to do something that isn't quantified in the rules, would it be as annoying to you as stopping the game and flipping through the book for rules that do exist? And what do you think about the argument that unanimously I have heard from players that they don't like individual player rewards like bennies or little freebies because they had good ideas, but the same players will tell you that when I come up with an idea that the rules doesn't give you a bonus for, I expect to get a bonus? Is there an inconsistency there? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever and wherever you're watching this video. Talk to you later.